One can change his life by accepting this simple truth. The truth is, habits don't change because you want them to. They change because your world forces them to. Your environment is the soil. Your mindset is the seed. Your psychology is the weather. Your courage is the shovel. And discipline. Discipline is the daily watering, done even when the sky is dry and your hands are tired. You become what you repeatedly do. But first, you become what surrounds you. This is not a guide. This is a reckoning. Because when you shift your surroundings, confront your mind, and act with courage, your habits don't just change, they evolve. They become sacred. You do not rise above your habits. You fall to the level of your environment, and if your environment is built on noise, distraction, and comfort, then even your strongest intentions will rot in silence. The man who seeks transformation must first become an architect, not of buildings, but of space, of silence, of friction, because change does not begin with motivation. It begins with design. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, Marcus Aurelius. You rearrange your room, not for aesthetics, but for war. You remove the temptations. You place your tools where your excuses used to live. You make your space sacred, because the mind follows the shape of the room. And then, you begin the real work, not with your hands, but with your thoughts. Mindset is not a slogan, it is a lens, and most people wear theirs cracked, distorted by childhood, culture, and comparison. You must clean the lens, not with affirmations, but with confrontation. You ask, what belief do I carry that no longer serves me? Who taught me to fear my own power? Why do I sabotage the very thing I pray for? This is not therapy. This is excavation. The greatest burden a man carries is the unlived life within him. David Deida. And once you've unearthed the lie, you must replace it, not with fantasy, but with courage. Courage is not loud, it is quiet. It is the whisper that says, do it anyway. You feel the fear, you feel the doubt, you feel the resistance, and you move. Not because you're ready, but because you're tired of waiting. This is where discipline is born, not from punishment, but from devotion. Discipline is the love language of your future self. It is the ritual that says, I believe in the man I'm becoming. You wake up early, not because it's trendy, but because the silence before sunrise is holy. You train your body, not for vanity, but to remind your mind who's in charge. You write, you reflect, you repeat, and slowly, the habits change, not because you forced them, but because you became someone new. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Environment shaped your behavior. Mindset shaped your perception. Psychology revealed your patterns. Courage broke the loop. Discipline built the new rhythm. And now, you are no longer reacting. You are creating. You don't change your identity by changing your clothes. You change it by changing your relationship with time, truth, and memory. To become unrecognizable to your past, you must first stop negotiating with it. Your old self will beg for relevance. It will whisper, we've always done it this way. This is who you are. But identity is not inherited, it is chosen, and every day you delay that choice, you reinforce the lie. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. So you begin, not with reinvention, but with release. You release the need to be understood. You release the need to be liked. You release the need to explain your evolution to people committed to your history. Because the man you're becoming doesn't need permission from the man you were. This is not ego. This is emergence. You stop asking, who am I? And start asking, who do I refuse to be anymore? That question alone can burn the bridge between your past and your future. You change your rituals. You change your rhythm. You change your language. You stop saying, I'm trying, and start saying, I'm training. You stop saying, I hope, and start saying, I build. Because identity is not found, it is forged. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Epictetus. You begin to act like the man you admire. Not someday, now. You walk like him, you speak like him, you think like him, until the mirror catches up, and when the mirror does, you won't recognize yourself, not because you've become someone else, but because you've finally become someone real. This is the identity shift. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's not posted, it's quiet, it's sacred, it's daily. You stop chasing motivation, you start honoring momentum, you stop performing, you start embodying, and slowly, the world begins to treat you differently, not because they changed, but because you did. You no longer attract chaos, you no longer tolerate confusion, you no longer explain your standards, because the man who knows who he is doesn't need to prove it. The only wealth which you will keep forever is the wealth you have given away. Marcus Aurelius. You give away your old habits. You give away your old stories. You give away your old name if you must. And in return, you receive clarity. You receive peace. You receive power. But this is not the final form. This is the foundation. The shadow work. You've changed your habits. You've shifted your identity. But there's one part of you still untouched. The part that hides behind ambition. The part that sabotages your greatness when no one's watching. Your shadow. You don't kill the shadow. You meet it. You name it. You learn its language. Because every man has two selves, the one he shows the world and the one that whispers when the lights go out. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Shadow work is not healing, it's reckoning. It's the moment you stop blaming your past and start interrogating your patterns. You ask, why do I chase validation from people I don't respect? Why do I sabotage love the moment it feels safe? Why do I build momentum only to burn it down? These are not questions for comfort. They are questions for clarity. You sit with your shame, not to drown in it, but to understand it. Because shame is not weakness. It's a compass pointing to the parts of you that need love, not judgment. You revisit the moments you buried, the betrayal, the failure, the lie you told to survive, and you say, I see you, I forgive you, but I no longer serve you. This is where power begins, not in perfection, but in integration. The man who has conquered himself is truly free. Epictetus. You stop performing strength. You start practicing wholeness. You stop chasing light. You start embracing contrast, because the man who owns his shadow can walk into any room and not flinch when the mirror speaks. You begin to notice the patterns, the triggers, the loops. You no longer react. You respond. You no longer suppress. You express. You no longer fear your darkness. You use it. Because your shadow is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It taught you how to survive. Now it must teach you how to lead. You integrate the rage, the jealousy, the insecurity, not to justify them, but to understand them. And in that understanding, you become whole. He who is brave is free. Seneca. You are no longer split between who you are and who you pretend to be. You are no longer addicted to the mask. You are no longer afraid of your own depth. This is the final transformation. Not becoming someone new, but becoming someone true. You've changed your habits. You've shifted your identity. You've faced your shadow. Now, you are ready to build. Not from ambition, but from alignment. Not from ego, but from essence. Not from fear, but from freedom. This is the end of the series, but it's the beginning of your legacy.